Hello friends, now let us take up the concept number 3.3, understanding basic terminology. In this concept, I explain certain terminology relating to Python programming. Today itself, we are going to write a set of solid Python programs. As I told you already, without knowing the concepts, means without having the conceptual understanding, don't go for applications. If you are over smart and go for application directly without studying theory, you must pay the price. You never achieve proficiency over the subject. I know that many students are over smart and they directly go for applications without properly studying theory. They may perform programs, but that is not the real proficiency. It represents, as I told you, blind man's walk. In a particular way only they perform. Their knowledge is not versatile. That point always remember. First concept, thereafter application. Because of that reason, I would like to explain the relevant terminology first before going for applications. Now, the first one is object. Already explained to you. This is in computer memory representation. In computer memory representation of a value. Value belong to particular type. Already I told you. In computer memory representation of a value belong to particular type. Always you should recall this. Understand? So that is an object. Simply you can understand that a memory location in which a specific type of value is stored. That's what we call an object. The memory container, simply you understand as a memory container. The second one, data type. Data type is very important in all programming languages because data types define two characteristics. One is which type of values are allowed for the particular container. So, this is int type container. In this, which type of values you can store? You can store only whole numbers, either negative, 0 or positive. Second one, which type of operations are allowed? On all data types, all types of operations are not allowed. So, this is integer type. On this, arithmetical operations are allowed, relational operators are allowed, logical operations are allowed, this bitwise operations are allowed. Like that, depending on the type, certain operations are allowed. That is the importance of the data type. The third one, literal. Literal, this is Python code representation of a data type value. Python code representation of a data type value. You have to understand it detailedly. Now we see, this is called. These are Python code representation only. Actually, in order to represent a value, certain symbols are created. So, by this you are able to understand it represents a value. What is its type also you are able to know. 12.5. This represents another data type value. This is also a literal. This is integer literal. This is a floating point literal. Now, this is also a literal. This is a string literal. String literal and true, false. These are also literal, Boolean literals. Of course, if you are newer to programming, you may not know that. True and false. This is one specific type. These are Boolean literals. So, what is a literal? Literal is a Python code representation of a certain value of certain type. Now, the fourth concept, classification of data types. Now, I am talking about classification of data types. Now, I want to introduce the classification of data types. Now, you see the table int. Int represents integer type, and as I told you already, integer represents whole numbers, either negative, 0 or positive. And which operations are allowed? Arithmetic operations, relational operations, logical operations are allowed, and those are the examples. Thereafter, float. Float means a real number. In mathematics we call as a real number. Real means in integer, suppose 5 is there, it represents 5. 5 rupees 50 paise does not represent. It is not real. So, if you want to represent a real value, 5 rupees 25 paise, 5 rupees 45 paise, then that is why in mathematics it is called real, and here it is called floating point. Why floating point? That also you must learn. Suppose this is a value, you are giving a certain value to this. Now, you see that I put it here. The value whatever you are giving is totally different. I put it here. Then the value is totally different. I put it here. Again the value is different. So, depending on the movement of the point, the value is changed. In this sense, it is called as a floating point. It is actually a real number in mathematics. Real number, and floating points also, whatever operations are allowed on integer, those operations are allowed. Bool. Bool, actually this is a Boolean type, that means either true or false. Actually we evaluate a condition. In real life also we evaluate a condition. What is that? Just what is condition? Working day is a condition. Now you think of it, working day true. So for your college it is a working day true, your program is in one fashion. Suppose this is false. False means it is a holiday, your program is different. Understand? So every time we, depending on the true or false, truth or false position of a condition, we behave differently. Understand? The type, this is very important type, that is called Boolean type. And thereafter string. Actually string means a set of characters. Characters means you have to understand in a broader way. Actually characters means you may limit to alphabets, not only alphabets. Now Python 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. A set of symbols, set of blank spaces, or combination of this, anything. So, which is enclosed by a pair of quotes, that is string. String also, Python allows two types of operations, that is to concatenate two strings, joining strings plus you can use, and to duplicate strings, this operator can be used. So, in this way, this is the classification of basic data types, that also you must know. Thereafter, variable. Actually already I told you, variable means object reference variable. This is variable, you can call it as, complete name is object reference variable. Next, operators. Operators are a Python code representation of specific operation. Actually this is data, and data we perform different types of operations. Now you see, you may perform plus, minus, division, multiplication, etc. These are operators. These are called operands. So as a result of that, what you get? 9. Result of this 1. Result of this 1.25. Result of this 20. Understand? So operators are meant for operating or manipulating data, or operands. These are Python code representation. So several operators are provided by the Python language. Thereafter, identifiers. The 7th one is identifiers. Actually, we use many types of elements in Python programs, like variables, functions, files, then modules, etc. For everything we have to give a name. We have to give a name. Without giving a name in real life or in programming, we cannot retrieve it. These are called identifiers. For defining identifiers, certain rules are there. We must follow the rules in defining the identifiers of Python programming elements, and certain conventions also are there. Conventions also there. Conventions are not rules. Those are good practices. Those are generated out of good practices. We must give respect to conventions and accept them. We should follow them. Then only you will be recognized as a good programmer. Next, the 8th one, keywords. Keywords are also known as reserved words. Every programming language reserves certain words for its own use. That means they are part of the language, and the language gives the keywords a specific meaning and purpose. You must use that word for the particular specified purpose only. If you use it otherwise, it leads to an error. So, language defined keywords. Python also, like other languages, it reserved 33 keywords. These are reserved words. In that, many categories are there. Some are literals. Actually, as I told you already, true and false are literals. Those are Python keywords only. True, false, and none. None. These are Python keywords. Next, operators. Some operators means don't limit it to symbols, and Python uses and, or, not. These are operators, and these should be used like this only. In other languages, for and this is used, or this is used, not this is used, but in Python it uses literal terms. Okay, and thereafter many other are there. Now these six are literals and operators. Remaining 27 are code builders. Code builders means using remaining keywords we build the code. As a part of the code we use them. In that manner you have to understand. Thereafter, the last one, expression. Actually, we write expressions in any program. Expression is a combination of variables, literals, operators, and it gives a specific meaning. Now you see, A plus B minus C. Like that we write. Here you see, it is a combination of operands as well as operators. And when it is evaluated, a single value is generated.